ต้องขอบใจเธอมากเลยนะที่ช่วยให้ครูคิดได้ฉันทำถูกฉันทำเพื่อส่วนรวม
Now, for context, in that clip, a teacher is mad about the fact that she's not voted as best teacher of the school. And the other teachers are voted much higher than her. Like it's 40-1. She only gets one vote. That one vote is from the girl standing next to her who gave her the shotgun shell. And that leads her into I'm not sure if they're going to demonetize this video for that. No, I don't even have monetization. I don't have to worry about that. That jealousy and envy leads her into killing everybody in the school. Like, she shoots them all. And because of that, she tried to justify her envy and her jealousy with saying, I did it for the greater good. And comes up with this lie that the other teachers were ruining the education system because they had a more friendly and more social teaching style than hers was, which was very, here is the material, here is what you're going to learn it. That was her style. And because she comes to the realization that it truly is envy and jealousy and hatred that led her into committing that, yes, she tried to lie to herself, but she knows that she is lying to herself. And she can't live with that reality. So ultimately, she kills herself. Now, what can we learn from that? People are a lot more dark and twisted than we like to think. All of us are, myself included. We try to believe that we are saints, believe that we are better than what the primal part of us is. And for the most part, the majority of us are better than that primal part of us. But the issue is when we try to deny its existence. We try to say that, oh, I am kind-hearted and sweet and a loving individual who can do no harm. Don't lie to yourself. There are some people who truly cannot do any harm. Like, they cannot get themselves to do it. They cannot create that thought. There are some individuals like that, but that is the very, very small minority. There's a character in a book called Johnny Got His Gun named Jose, and Jose can't even quit his job because he doesn't want to make his boss upset. So he goes on this long plot to try and get his boss to fire him because he is so sweet and kind. He cannot say, I quit my job. He cannot even do that. But you are not Jose. Unless your name is Jose, but you are not that character Jose. Now, what we need to understand is that all of us have a darker side to us. Yeah, we can be kind and loving and sweethearted individuals, but we all have a deep and dark, twisted side to us. For example, to have a family, to protect your family, mean that you might have to harm somebody else in that process. It would be ideal if you didn't have to, but there may come a time you have to. If someone breaks into your home and is holding your wife or kid at gunpoint or something, then that's when that darker side is going to come out, and you might shoot the person before they could shoot your wife and your kids. You might tackle them or kick them or something. Or, in a much smaller example that I'm sure we've all seen happen, you don't like somebody on the playground as a child. You don't like them for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe they breath stink or whatever. And because of that, you end up punching them or calling them a name or any of these things that could be considered harmful or considered going against that sweet and kind and harmless nature that most humans like to tell ourselves that we have. Like, consider this. We are the only species in the planet that if we wanted to, we could like just wipe all of us out same day. Like, why do we have nuclear bombs? Why do we have swords? Why do we have bow and arrows? Why do we have guns? Why do we have these things? You might think, oh, it's to protect ourselves. Protect ourselves from what? The bears don't have guns. The snakes don't have guns. The sharks don't have bombs. What are we protecting ourselves from? Each other. Exactly. We have these things. We have gone from sticks and stones to swords to knives to guns and bombs and all these things because we get better and better at killing each other. Why is that? Because we are motivated by a part of us that says we want to make sure that we stay alive. We want to make sure that we stay alive. We want to make sure that our family, our friends, our loved ones, our kids, our boyfriend, our girlfriend, our husband, our wife, we want to make sure they stay alive. The other people, they could come second. They can come second. Okay? They can come later. Now, in the darkest of moments, we're going to see that we might even put family and friends and loved ones after us. In some moments, that can be seen happening. Like, yeah, that's something we don't want to happen. But consider the situation of you and your friend are in a room and only one of you can leave. Like, the other one has to die. It is guaranteed other one has to die. Now, it would be ideal that you both can get out, but it is guaranteed one of you had to stay, one of you leaves. Who are you picking? You know, we all want to say our friend. We all want to say, oh, I choose my friend any moment, any second. But you only will know your answer to that if you are in that individual situation. You will only know your answer if you're in that situation. But consider that even a baby, like I'm talking fresh out the womb, like it doesn't have any kind of indoctrination. It doesn't have any kind of behave this way, behave that way. Even a baby can be seen showing that. Like, when you have a child, like a baby, you will often notice that the baby is very hungry for attention. And that's a normal thing, because, like, it's programmed in. They're like, yeah, I don't want to die. But that part right there, I don't want to. The baby doesn't have any concept of who they are. They don't have a concept of, oh, my name's Lawrence Harris, I'm 16, I'm from here, belong to this family, I like to do these things. The baby does not have that concept yet. But what it does have is, I need to eat. I need to eat. I cannot die. It has that in there. That's why it'll often get upset when there are other babies in the room. That's why you will often see it happening. You might see a sense of jealousy, of envy, when someone else is getting attention and that baby is not. Now, another example that we see very often, like we can't even deny this one. If you try to deny the other ones, this one's really about to put it to you. When you want something to eat, when you want something to do you go and ask every single person every single time, can you have that? Can you do that? Can you wear that? Can you do these things? unless you grew up in an extremely authoritarian household, then no, you don't. Like, you don't serve and make sure that every single other person in the world is fine before you are. No, you don't do that. That's just a very small example of how humans are. We're not selfish in the sense of we always will be, but it is a part of us. We can try to fight against that, but we can't deny that it exists. Now, the next thing I want to bring to you is this. Don't try to deny or try to fight against that or try to say, oh, I am going to just push all that away. I'm just going to not do any harm. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to have that aggression. I'm not going to have that assertiveness or that dominance. I'm not going to have any of these non-virtuous traits. You can't do that. You're trying to push away the part of humans which has kept us alive for so long. Like, if we weren't aggressive, if we weren't capable of doing harm, we'd all be dead. Like, do you think the bears and the wolves and the hyenas and the lions and the sharks all sit and think, oh, I don't want to harm them, I don't want to do that? No, they don't. If you look like food, you're getting treated like food. That's how they think about it. Now, we don't want to try and push that away. We don't want to try and push that down. In fact, we want to come to terms with it. We want to become one with it. Like, of course, don't go around just punching random people and doing all these, like, things which could be considered evil or heinous. But you have to accept the fact that I'm capable of doing it. I could. Like, you can use that darker side of yourself and become more in tune with it so that you are a kind, sweet gentleman. But if the situation calls for it, you can tap into that other side. You can tap into that side of you that won't hesitate to fight somebody. You can tap into that side of you that won't hesitate to assert, like, I'm not about to be treated like this. Y'all better, like, change it up. You can tap into that side of you so that you can protect yourself when there's danger. You can protect others when there's danger. However, you also are in tune with the gentler side of yourself. Like being able to hug a baby. Being able to tell someone you love them. Being able to take care of a garden. But you also are aware of the fact that to take care of that garden means that you have the capability and the know-how of how to kill that garden. You know if I don't take care of it and I don't water it, it will die. You know if I don't feed that baby, it'll starve. However, you feed that baby, you water those flowers because you care, you want to make sure that they are safe and protected. Now, that know-how and that ability to do damage is what's going to keep you safe. That know-how and that ability to protect and defend is what's going to keep your house, safe, protected, guarded. And I need another sip of water. But we can't deny that all of us have some dark traits. Some more than others. And some of the traits that the people that we say are the darkest and the gloomiest have is one simple thing. They're good at communicating. They're charismatic. They are people that we like to listen to. Because everyone needs a release from that darker energy building up in them. Everyone needs that. Like, for example, people who are boxers, often what they do is they take like their most angriest, most aggressive, most dark thoughts and bring that in with them into the ring. They fight, they come out happy. That's their release. Some people, it's music. Some people, it's driving fast cars. We all need time where we can tap into that like darker side of ourselves so that it doesn't come out in a way which could harm someone that we love, in a way that won't jeopardize ourselves, that won't jeopardize our future. Now, what happens when we don't tap into that? What happens when we don't have that released, that time to connect? It just sits there and it builds. And it builds and it builds and it builds. And as you saw in the clip, when we have that opportunity to let that come out, and it comes out, it's much more furious than if we had a release, if we had a way of getting rid of this stored up energy in a healthy manner. And when that release happens, it can lead to things like wars. It can lead to arguments and fights and doing things which the gentler, nicer side of yourself that you like to portray would not do. Take, for example, people who follow cults or follow certain political views that now we would consider to be extremely like terrible and evil and hurtful and all these terrible things. Like even something as crazy as slavery and Nazis and all that. The thing they all have in common is people have a darker side of themselves that they want to release, and they need a way of doing it. Now, yes, both of those things had a whole lot of other factors behind them, but they are similar in the fact that people are self-serving, often very selfish, one-sided, and when the group consensus is behave this way, do these things, and try to justify what you're doing with, oh, but they're different. That's the other, that's the people that we don't want to associate ourselves with. That's the people who are less than us. We're up here, they're down here. So because we're up here, we're going to hurt and we're going to oppress and we're going to do these things to them. But instead of saying hurt and oppress, we're going to say we are going to educate. We are going to treat them. We are going to cure them. And we justify it to ourselves so that we don't have to sit and think on the fact that what we are doing is go completely against the values that we like to portray. And when there was a leader for an organization like that, like in the case of Hitler, when there was a leader and the people who are following have that built up darkness within them, they will follow that leader to the ends of the earth. They will do it. Like some people who were Nazis stayed Nazis after the war. They did it after Hitler died. They just didn't talk about it. They just kept it on the down low. Like there's a lot of closet racists. There are a lot of people who are closet racist. They don't say it out loud, but they think it. And because they think it, it just kind of sits there building and building and getting stronger and stronger. And that's when you see organizations like the KKK pop up. That's when you see things like shooting up churches. When you see things like calling the cops on people because they look suspicious. That's when you see this kind of thing popping out. And we all have to come to terms with the fact that we are not as saintly or as gentle or as loving as we would like to think we are. That's not to say we're all terrible and twisted and evil. We just have the capability to be it. Like, we're capable of being it. We don't want to be it. At least most of us don't want to. But we're all capable of doing it. The same way you can build a house is the same way you can destroy another person's. And you just kind of have to accept it. Don't fight it. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to pretend it's not there. No. Accept it. Become one with it. Learn how to use it in a positive and constructive manner. Like using anger to go to the gym, for example. That worked for a lot of people. Using jealousy as a motivation to go, I will become better than them. And eventually, you're going to start to lose that jealousy because you become proud of yourself. So you're taking that darkness and you're converting it into a light. Now, that doesn't mean that there will be no darkness within you. It just means that you are taking something that could become hurtful and making it useful. You're taking something that could damage and using it to build. Now, when you need to destroy, when you need to, get your boots and your hat on and go to war, you can use that same dark energy to protect. However, in protecting, you are harming. You are just justifying it with, I'm protecting my people against these people. It's really something to think about. Like, I go real in-depth on it, but I think what I've covered here goes over it very well. And there's a lot of books out there if you want to look more into it. There's a lot of information on it. It's often referred to as the shadow. Like, it's the opposite of what you typically want to portray. Like, I mentioned this last thing and I'll be done. But often your shadow is just the opposite of what you wish to portray. Like, if you want to be a loving and sweet and kind-hearted person, your shadow is what will be the harm, what will be the dangerous side of you. If you're typically a shy and introverted person, the shadow of yourself is the extroverted, the social side of you. It's just kind of buried in there. And the more you try to fight it back, the thicker it gets. The more you try to fight it, the stronger it gets. So the moment you stop fighting it, that's when it can snap out in the craziest ways. But when you stop fighting it and then you catch it right here before it can do that, and you start to accept and integrate yourself with it, you become one, you become whole, you become stronger than you were before. Something to think about. Have a good day. Love you.